a show that tackles the big issues affecting the BVI and the rest of the Caribbean. Searches for answers to today's big questions and gives viewers a unique perspective on developing stories. Follow the big story with me, Kathy Richards, only on GTV. This show is brought to you by the National Bank of the Virgin Islands, Cyril B. Ramney Tertola Pier Park, NV Salon Spa Nail and Barbershop, HOV Medical, and Digicel. Sign up for Digicel Plus Home Light Bundles, faster internet, movies, and sports. This is a big story. I'm Kathy Richards. I want to thank you so much for joining us for this edition. In studio with me today is someone who was here just a few weeks ago as he celebrated 30 odd years in a certain field, but we're not here for that. Dean, the Sportsman, Greenaway, welcome back. Welcome back. You're okay?
I'm always okay. Thank you, Kathy. I'm glad to be here with you.
Compliments for the season, for
Thank you.
Christmas, the New Year's, when it all comes.
Everything is coming so fast. So, hey,
Yeah.
before you know it, it's 2025.
All right, but I thought I needed you here for a few minutes to talk a little bit about what we see coming up very shortly on Thursday. You have the BVI Olympics Committee is having their general elections, and we know that at the helm of the BVIOC committee for so many years has been Mr. Ephraim Penn. So he's an incumbent, but we see Dean, the Sportsman, Greenaway, up the challenge. Such a long-standing person within the BVIOC at that position. Why?
Well, right now, I'm a part of a team, okay? While I have a lot of administrative experience, I've served at the Olympic Committee before. As the Secretary General, I've served in capacity of what you call the chef de mission at CAC, Pan Am, Commonwealth and Olympic Games. I think the time is right that we can move things in a different direction. I have a team that I think is capable and willing and experienced to help us, because part of our mandate is education. My team includes, I'm running for president, Deborah Hart. She's the Secretary of Archery. She's running for first vice president. Cleve Farrington, he has worked at the BVI Olympic Committee for about 10 years. He's the second vice president. Our treasurer candidate is Dawn Crabbe-Herbert. She's been involved with sports. She's a certified accountant. Our secretary general candidate is Ellsworth Phillip, who is the president of the Swimming Federation, and our floor member is Zebulon McLean, the chief fire officer. He is directly involved with softball and volleyball as an official. He referees and umpire in both of them. So what we are looking at is the empowering the members. We want to focus a lot on education. We would like people, our members, the public, you, the media, Kathy. I know if we are successful, you would have us in here a lot, because we want to educate about the Olympic movement, the opportunities, and we want to empower the members and the federations. We want to focus on the grassroots development, because if you are going to continuously have athletes, you have to have each sport keep regenerating. We see it important that we have in place the structure and things to do that. We feel that not just the communication among the members, what we plan to do is to involve the members of the executive as liaisons. So each member will have either, depending on the outcome of the election, and if we are successful, each member will be responsible for maybe 1 or 2 sports, okay? And then we recognize from during the campaign that there is a wealth of skill set within the territory. So what we want to do is to, as part of the empowerment, is to involve member federations and associations on committees, because we want people to understand, because what we are realizing is quite a lot of people don't understand certain things. I mean, I was kind of surprised when part of our presentation, there were people that don't know which sports or which games their sport is eligible to. So the education of athletes on, and one of the things we want to do, that you can say straight up off the top, one of the things in our first 100 days, we want to have a sport administration course. Okay. Because this exposes all our member federations to the Olympic movement. One of the weak areas in our sports is public relations. So we want to have a seminar with the sporting association, with public relations, to help them better get their stuff out. I know you'd be hungry for information, Captain. And you don't get nothing about sports sometimes. Things happen and you hear it after the fact.
So tell me, based on what you're saying, these are areas that have been lacking in the BVIOC?
Well, these are areas we see as important. Okay. As I said, the education. And we want to work with the schools. I came out the system working with schools. I hear a lot of people speaking about, oh, you know, this should be in school and that should be in school. However, if the sport doesn't have the things in place, so this is why we want to have a meeting with them. Coaching, we want to develop coaches, because you cannot run a program without having coaches. So those are areas we want to improve on. We want to see programs in communities, and in so doing, we will be enlisting members of the community, the business. We want to have a comprehensive, inclusive program which would also take into account persons with disabilities, because there are competitions around the globe for persons with disabilities. One of the things we also recognize is that the BVI is underrepresented in many areas, because we go to these different assemblies. There are numerous opportunities for people to do different things. And for example, Thursday is the deadline for a program put on by the Caribbean Association of National Olympic Committees. It focuses solely on coaching girls. It's called Coaching Her, through an organization, TOFISA. But the BVI is underrepresented there. Nobody's going.
Nobody.
No. I'm in, I think about 4 chat groups, track and field chat groups across the region. I noticed that there was this one was done by the Central Caribbean Sport, which governs the Central American and Caribbean. They had a Caribbean sport journalist workshop in Dominican Republic. I didn't have to go, but nobody from the BVI went. So to me, we are being underrepresented in certain things like that. And we want to see people have opportunities. We want to grow sports. When we go down the list of members and sports, we find that only a few of the sporting associations, I think it might be about 7 of about 16 or 17 members, have participated in games. So our vision would be to have more members going to the CAC games, because it's more difficult to get to the others. But if we start there, so one of the things we want to do to assist that, we want to, there was a O'Neill Youth Games that started about 17, 18 years ago. We want to revive that, because what it does, it's a youth games. The BVI goes to the Commonwealth Youth Games, Pan Am Youth Games, and the Youth Olympic Games. what we want to be able to do now, through meetings with the school and all that, because we noticed that there are some leagues and things taking place. What we want to do would be now to begin identifying people early. We're not going to be ready for some of them in the 2025, 26 period. But what we have to be able to have is to see who's in our pool in every sport.
Okay, so I wanna ask you this: you being a member of the BVI Olympics Committee,
I'm not a member.
You're not a member, so you're someone coming from the outside.
I was the Secretary General between 2006 and 2008.
That's a long time ago, and I'm listening to you with your vision for the committee. Are these the things that, over the years that, you guys would have tried to discuss with the existing committee?
No.
Or these are just fresh things? Because one of the things that you oftentimes hear, that when people have these grandeur of visions for any organization or entity or business, what is absent most times where you say, you're standing on the outside and you don't actually understand what's going on the inside. Yes, you would have been a general secretary back in way when, but with the transformation and the development of times and things would have changed so much. Are these things really possible?
But what I'm telling you, our team has people that are on committees already. They're on archery, they're on swimming. Okay?
But are they a part of the BVI Olympics?
All the sports are the members of the Olympic Committee. So they are the ones who going through the process and seeing what can happen. I'm just the person happen to be leading and speaking on their behalf. These are things we saw, and we also solicit the input of the federations about what they would like to see.
So who votes, really?
Each federation votes. There are, I think there are some new members going to be inducted. Surfing and cricket, for example. Cricket is now on the LA 2020 Olympic program. So each member federation has one vote.
And what are they voting there? They're voting for a team like you have your team, and Ms. Penn would have his team. Are they voting for teams, or they'll be voting for individuals?
They vote per individual based on whatever. But I would like to see our team, our team elected, because we are bringing fresh ideas. Now, let me go back to what you were saying about you have all these grandiose whatever. Kathy, I'm not sure how much you know of a lot of what I have done. When I was Athletics Association president, we introduced things like the gala, the coaching association. That came under my tenure. Okay? Though I do journalism, I'm involved with things like road racing and cycling. I have an understanding. Plus, as I said, communication and education. Because if I educate you on what we want to do, you have an understanding. We think you are going to buy into it, because in the end, the children of the British Virgin Islands are going to benefit. And that is what we want to see. And wait, before you go, it goes back to something. I was at a sport administration course in 2007, and the late Eric King from Canada conducted the course. And when Mr. O'Neill was taking him around, and he said, he's seeing a lot of fields and stuff that are empty, but he's not seeing people out doing things for the fun of it. How do you get that one? Now, who is the face of each of our sports? We can tell who our faces are in track and field, but what about the other sport? So we want to be able now to begin to highlight, and that's where we start with the youth games. What I have noticed since, I think it's about 2005, being a journalist, I used to tell the association, these young people are hungry to be exposed. That's all they want. I mean, and I gave you my story before when I introduced the Athletes Awards Gala. The one athlete that came and asked me if we can have it again was Kyron McMahon. Look where he is today. You do not know what is going to be done. And we want to we want to have an awards ceremony annually to recognize the members for things that they have done. We see, okay, outside of track and field this year, swimming came back in for the first time in 8 years. They won a medal. We see squash having an athlete win a thing over at the CAC Junior Championships. Sailing, some finished second in a race in the Olympic Games. That might mean nothing to a lot of people, but when you're talking about the best, yeah. So what I'm saying is, we also have to recognize the people who are doing the work. And I believe in recognizing people, because you cannot, the more people you recognize, the more you're going to get out of the whole thing.
All right, so I hear you, Dean. I guess you've been doing a lot of campaigning internally. I don't know how
yes.
How it was.
But because a lot of what I'm telling you, we presented and we asked people about it, because the thing is, some people have not seen the things being done. So what we want to do is, like I say, education. And I think I can close on this note. On Saturdays, several Saturdays, I am driving in my truck. I listen to 90.9 a lot, where I host the Sports Beat magazine on Thursdays. I got to throw in that little I am listening to the U.S. Virgin Islands Olympic Committee on a BVI station talking about their programs and activities. So one of the things we would want to do is to introduce BVIOC radio. This is going to be, we have already seen one of our members who can, a person from within the membership that we met, who can already handle that. But it also would give other young people an opportunity. And what we notice, a lot of these young people are creative in doing things. We would want them involved with helping to have the Olympic Committee more vibrant. So while somebody might not be particularly as a competitor, we want to tap into all the resources that would be able to help us, and to utilize the community service programs in school. Because one of the things I've discovered going to cricket, there's a little 14-year-old boy up there. He's a chief scorer, and he's been doing it for 3 years. So there are examples around, but it's just now, like I said, educating and exposing people to get a better understanding of this.
So I really didn't want to have the conversation in private to find out why you think that you have what it takes, you and your team, to go up against such a giant. I'm happy that we can share it in this public space.
Remember, Kathy, I'm involved with covering every sport. So and as an administrator, there are things I myself see and have seen over time. And I know it can be better with communication, education, and empowering people to do things. Because it ain't nothing new you're going to be doing, really. It's just getting people, or pointing people as to how they can do. And we are going to look at partnering with the Canadian Olympic Committee and Dominican Republic in particular. Those two enable to help us to get certain things done, and to help train our people in the BVI for opportunities.
Awesome. So despite whatever way this goes, following elections, whether your team or another team or an amalgamation from the various teams come together to make the committee, depends on what the voters want. I wish the BVI Olympic Committee every success. Pray that, as we go forward, we do what is necessary for those who benefit from it, and for us to keep the name of the Virgin Islands flying high. So all the best to you and your team, and all the best to Mr. Ephraim Penn and his team. He has been at it for very many years, and I see that the composition of his team, them going up, says that they want to continue to do the job. You and your team says, listen, we need to do it this way.
Fresh blood.
For you, we need fresh blood. So may the better team win. All right. Thank you so much for stopping by and sharing so candid. And thank you so much for the pleasure of your time. I'm Kathy Richards. Thank you for joining us here on The Big Story.